Okay, yours is off. Oh, he's off.
Neither do you.
Are we good to go?
Pass it off.
Yeah. Okay, we will bring this Area Plan Commission Data Center Subcommittee meeting to order. I want to apologize for a few inconveniences we may deal with tonight. Our Executive Director, Mr. Glancy, had a family emergency, so he's not able to be here. So I will do my best, to conduct the meeting without him. Typically, we would have agendas on the table, and we would have copies of the subcommittee ordinance draft for everyone to look at. I apologize that those won't be available this evening, but we'll do the best that we can. So with that being said, if you would please stand and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So as far as roll call goes, it looks like we have everybody but Cale Grindle, so I will make note that Cale is with us. Okay, again, I want to thank everyone for coming. This is a subcommittee meeting to review a data center ordinance draft. This is a voluntary committee. No one up here is getting paid to serve on this committee. The subcommittee is composed of 3 community members, Molly Early, Bud Shelton, and Nolan Holloway. And it's composed of 4 APC members, be Ed Hartman, Gary Duckwall, Cale Grindle's not with us, and myself, Randy Atkins. The subcommittee decisions are non-binding. We're simply a recommending body to the Grant County Area Planning Commission. Our goal is to review the ordinance draft by section or by page, honor community input and discussion, and revise the draft if needed. I typically would say that we're going to target the meeting to end at 8. I'm going to shoot the goal out there of finishing it tonight. And I know you guys are saying, oh, we haven't got past 5 pages and there's 7 left. Well, I've got a surprise for you that's coming up. So we'll see how that goes. This is our 7th subcommittee data center ordinance draft meeting, public review and discussion meeting. The draft is 37 pages. We are ready to start at the top of page 31, number 6, and it's community integration. If you have not attended all the meetings, you are encouraged to watch the meetings you have missed on the Grant County YouTube site. The meetings prior to this one were May 28th, May 27th, June 10th, June 24th, July 22nd, and July 29th. We will schedule another subcommittee meeting if necessary. I will recommend that once the revisions that this subcommittee and the community have provided to us, once those are put into a form or a draft, we will have one final subcommittee meeting for us to review the accuracy of what we feel that particular document holds based on the discussions that we had before it goes to the Grant County Area Planning Commission. So I'm guessing there'll be at least one more subcommittee meeting. We ask that you come to the podium and state your name and sign the sheet with your name and address. We ask you keep comments specific to the section being discussed, and please be respectful of others who may choose to share as well. Comments not relevant to the ordinance draft that we are discussing at that time can be made during the agenda item number 6, which is public input at the end of the review of the draft. Once we have reviewed and discussed the ordinance and made revisions if needed, it will be presented to the APC in a public hearing for their review and recommendation. Upon receipt of any APC recommendation, the data center ordinance will be presented to the commissioners for their final approval. So those are the guidelines that we're going to try and follow this evening. So with that being said, I'm going to put a sheet of paper up there on the podium and a pencil, and we will start subcommittee members with number 6 on page 31. So if you would, please review that, and then we'll open it up for comments. Thank you, Nolan.
I think that on line 2, developer should be added here, just because it could be it could be abandoned during development.
Okay. So this one reads, upon abandonment, discontinuation, irreparable damage, or declaration as a public nuisance, the owner and/or operator, and we typically are trying to engage the developer as well, shall remove all physical materials pertaining to the data center above ground level and all improvements below ground level, unless the county specifically approves in writing that certain below ground facilities may retain without harm to future land use, drainage, or environmental conditions. I know that's a mouthful, but that's the one that we're looking at right now. And Molly has suggested that we add the developer to that. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah, and county specifically approves in writing. Who's that?
Okay.
Should I go back to BZA or APC?
Thoughts on that, Ed?
I think it could kind of be either. What do you think?
BZA or the APC.
Yeah. It's kind of like.
Well, if it's a if it's an enforcement issue, it should go to the APC to the code enforcement.
Right.
So we want to go APC?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go to the Grant County APC, and that is 1, 2, 3, line 4, correct?
Yes.
Our notes are going to have to be really good, guys, because we don't have Todd as our secretary tonight to make those notes.
So I'll be able to read everybody's chicken scratches.
That's right. All right, anything else on number 6?
Here's a question, okay? In other areas of the ordinance, we have put that the land, if during a decommissioning, that the land must go back to original state. This says that if the APC is going to, can approve in writing that below ground facilities may remain. You can't have it either or. If we're having them put it back to original state, they can't leave.
Have you
things
read
below
number
ground.
10 yet?
I have not got that far. No. Okay, so that would then apply if it was already zoned high industrial, they could leave an underground portion, but if it was zoned agricultural pre-development, then it has to return to agricultural.
So you're saying anything underneath the ground?
Well, that's my question, right? If we're going to say it has to go back to original state, and originally there was nothing underground, then they should have to remove whatever's underground.
Right, I think it's covering that in number 10.
Right.
Number 10 says, where the site consists of agricultural land, former agricultural land, or other land where soil productivity is a relevant concern, the owner and operator shall remediate the land to its original or better physical condition and fertility based upon pre-construction soil testing paid for by the developer and performed by a qualified professional acceptable to the county. So I think what we're saying is that ag land must be returned to its productive state originally. Molly's question is, are there other areas where it's not going to be okay to leave underground stuff in?
Like underground tanks, chemical holdings,
Correct.
stuff like that.
I don't think if they've got an underground storage
Any
of,
underground tanks should be probably removed.
correct.
And it does say, unless the Grant County APC specifically approves in
Yes, it
writing
does.
that certain below ground. So it is under the jurisdiction of the APC code enforcement as to whether there's anything left there or not. So are we comfortable that we've got things covered?
Yes,
Okay,
I am.
all right. So let's go to 7. all equipment, parts, wiring, conduits, concrete pads, fencing, batteries, transformers, generators, cooling systems, fuels, hazardous materials, and other project-related improvements required to be removed under this section shall be lawfully removed, recycled when required or reasonably feasible, and disposed of in accordance with applicable law.
Paid for by,
Okay?
owner, operator, or developer.
Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Anything else on 7?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Everybody good?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Number 8. All decommissioning, recycling, and site restoration shall be completed within 365 days after abandonment, discontinuation, or declaration as a public nuisance unless the county approves a different schedule in writing for good cause shown.
It should be Grant County, APC.
Yep. We good with it as it reads?
I think you should insert on the first line after the word shall, it shall begin within 180 days, and then it goes on to say be completed within 365 days.
Shall
So
begin
you want them working on it
At 180 days.
Yeah.
Yes.
at the latest.
180 days, okay?
Shall begin no later than 180 days.
And end within 365
Yep.
Yep.
or whatever.
Everybody good with that?
Good.
And be completed within.
Anything else on 8?
Do we need to add, since we're adding, begin no later than 180 days and shall be completed within 365 days from date of
Decommission.
decommissioning? So that way they don't say, well, we started it on this date within, we started on day 180 and now we have a whole year from that. Do we want them completely done within a year, or are we willing to give them some wiggle room and say if they start on day 180, they still have a year after that start date?
Are we good with from the date of decommissioning?
From day number 1.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Like, do we want
Day
to,
one?
from
Yeah.
day 1 of decommissioning or day 1 when they actually
Right.
start
I think day 1.
of decommissioning? Yes, which is how it reads.
Does that make sense, Ed?
Yeah.
Anything else on 8? Number 9. Site restoration shall return to the site to the original or better condition existing before project development, including regrading, stabilization, drainage restoration, and restoration of usable land condition. Good with that?
Good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. 9's good. Number 10, where the site consists of agricultural land, former agricultural land, or other land where soil productivity is a relevant concern, the owner and operator shall remediate the land to its original or better physical condition and fertility based upon pre-construction soil testing paid for by the developer and performed by a qualified professional acceptable to the county.
Developer should be added on line 2, owner, operator, developer. I think owner, operator should also be added on line 4 where it says developer.
Okay. Now, who are we going to make that acceptable to? What county agency?
APC.
APC, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
APC?
Acceptable to Grant County APC
Okay.
on the last line.
Yes.
Okay.
11.
Number 11, if trees or other natural features were removed in anticipation of the project, the county may require replanting or other restoration measures as part of the approved site restoration plan.
It should be Grant County APC again. And I think that may should be put to a shall. Or just taken out completely. Grant County APC requires replanting.
We better leave that shall in there for Kale since he's not here.
Okay. We'll move that to shall.
And does anyone object of after replanting adding 3 little words of native species?
Of native species.
Yes, because we don't want kudzu planted.
Yes. Okay, everybody go to 11? Okay, number 12, if any portion of the facility is found to be hazardous in nature by county, state, or federal regulatory agencies or must be removed and replaced by law, the owner and operator shall remove and remediate such materials in the manner prescribed by applicable law.
Developer,
Developer, yeah.
line 3.
Okay? Anything else on number 12?
Good.
Good. We're good? Okay, before we move to number 3, which is identification and removal of hazardous materials, I'm going to give the public the opportunity to make any comments to what we've just discussed.
Dennis Carter, Wheeling Pike, Fairmount. I don't have a problem with this section, anything you've got to have said about it here, but how are you going to do it? Because if they put 10 or 15 or 20 acres under roof with a foot of concrete, do you really think they're going to clean it up? I don't. I think they'll take their equipment out, and then, yes, they've got a bond, but bond ain't even going to begin to cover the cost of taking that building down and cleaning up all, and add to that, they're going to cart all that topsoil away if it's farm ground. You ain't never going to see that farm ground or that topsoil again. I don't have a problem with what you got, but how are you going to do it? I just don't understand. If you let them come in here and you let them go into an agricultural situation, that ground will never be agriculture again. It just won't. And that's something that we just got to face. I mean, that's just going to be the case. It's going to be either a vacant building or a building that the county's going to try to encourage somebody else to go into and use. Because once it's lost, it's lost. Thank you.
Any comments to that, subcommittee members?
I would say that I agree with what you're saying, and we can look around and see buildings abandoned in the past in our county. And it is a problem, especially if the company ceases to exist when they pull out.
Yeah.
You know, they sometimes just give the building to the county. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
But if it does exist and it does continue on, it does give us leverage for some sort of restitution.
Yeah.
If you can find them.
True.
I mean, if they're still in business.
If they're still in business. I mean, like I said, I don't disagree with what you've got here, and it should be done that way. But I just don't see how under the sun it'll ever happen.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to lose their decommissioning bond,
Which will never cover what they
probably cover it.
Yeah, and even if they take that topsoil, we talked about a 20-foot barrier around the site. Even if they put that 20 feet back, I mean, it's not going to be like it was before.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is $1 million bond enough?
Was it not 1.5 the cost? I can't remember.
Did we require two separate bonds in here? Did we require a bond for while they're operational and a separate bond for decommissioning?
I thought we had the decommissioning bond separate.
We did at the beginning.
Did we?
So you think we need to raise that? Something to think about.
Yes, I think we need to put a question mark by that whenever we come back after, review it once everything has been through.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with him. Once that land is disturbed, it's never going to go back to the same. My humble opinion is I don't want him here at all.
In the notes reflect that we need to explore the decommissioning bond.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna make a note.
On the first page is, we basically accept a level that we feel is sufficient.
For the bond.
Yes.
Yeah.
The certain
Sure
bond.
performance of all bonded obligations. We didn't specify amount there on that page anyway.
Under the definitions.
Yeah.
We don't have it on decommissioning bond, I don't think it's in the definition.
No, let's make a note of that. And I think a decommissioning bond needs to be minimum of 10 million. Probably not feasible, but
Okay. Michael?
Michael Duke, Grant County. The gentleman's question or comments was looking at the back end, which is valid. I understand perfectly what he's saying. But I think in terms of up here on the front end, as you're working to structure an ordinance for Grant County, is that you're setting the criteria for managing and controlling a location of a data center in our county boundaries to be very high. You're setting the bar very high and stringent so as to, let's say, give the potential developer the opportunity to contemplate, exercise their gray matter, and decide if the bar is so high that they just need to go someplace else. So that's how I conceive the different requirements that you are building into the ordinance.
Yeah, I think our ultimate goal is just to protect the residents of Grant County from having the burden of the financial burden and any impact that this may have on them. I think that's what our role and obligation is to do that.
Yeah, during operation and decommissioning.
Okay, any other comments, community members?
Cynthia Weir, and I'm from Huntington County. What I would say to number 12, we keep that bar exceptionally high in Grant County, so they go someplace else, because we have to remember that any federal regulatory agencies or state have been weakened severely in the past 2 years. And we don't know where those regulatory agencies are going to be in protecting the environment, in protecting our citizens. It's been basically opened up, and I would caution you highly to depend on any federal regulatory or state at this point.
So cover it for ourselves.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Cynthia. So we're going to make note of that wetland, Molly, that you were concerned about.
yes.
Okay, I'm kind of making some notes here of some things that we need to look into. Any other community comments? All right, we will move to number 3 at the bottom of page 31, identification and removal of hazardous materials. So number 13 states during any construction, removal, recycling, or restoration activity, the owner and operator shall identify all hazardous materials as regulated by local, state, and federal agencies, as well as non-hazardous materials, and shall indicate the appropriate handling, storage, transport, recycling, and disposal methods of such materials.
Add developer, owner, operator, and developer,
Okay,
because it includes construction in that first line.
anything else?
And I'm sure that Todd's gonna fix, because these are a lot of long sentences.
Yeah, we've noted that.
Yeah. I can't remember if we left with extension or not. There's only like 2 periods.
Yeah, we will. That's what AI does for you.
A lot of attorney talk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anything else on 13?
It's been a long time since I've had to deal with any kind of OSHA regulations or anything like that, but I am assuming that we do not need to put in our ordinance that hazardous materials sheets would be kept.
MSDS?
Yes, thank you. That's the word I was looking for, MSDS sheets. Do they need to provide those with the application?
They'll have to have, well, I would want them with the application. They'll have them on site when they're operating.
Right. Is that another note we need to make for the application process?
MSDS sheets.
Must be provided with application.
It's good.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else? On number 13, under number 3?
Good.
Yeah, okay.
We good?
Yes.
Hearing none, we'll move to number 4, performance guarantee, which is number 14. Prior to issuance of any improvement location permit, the applicant shall provide the county with a performance guarantee in the form of a bond, irrevocable letter of credit, which we're taking out,
Yes,
correct?
irrevocable letter of credit is automatically removed.
Taking that out,
And other financial security.
and we're taking, so it's going to be bond only. Acceptable to the county, what agency? APC, BZA?
Is it not the council, since they would handle the money?
That's a good question. Any thoughts on that, Ed?
And maybe the commissioners.
Or commissioners?
Okay,
Let's put the commissioners,
put the commissioners in there.
and that should be on line 2, the Grant County Commissioners.
Okay. Okay, so we've taken out irrevocable letter of credit or other financial security acceptable to the county. We've taken that out in an amount equal to 150% of the estimated cost of decommissioning, recycling, and site restoration, including complete return of the land to pre-construction condition or better. So the question becomes, where are we going to come up with the 150%? What basis is that going to be?
They'll have to have an engineering study.
Right, of the estimated cost of decommissioning done by an engineering company approved through.
So we're going to start a new sentence, Nolan.
Yes.
Cost.
Prior to acceptance of bond, an engineering study.
Conducted by an engineering.
Yeah.
Of the county's choice.
Yes.
Okay, anything else there? Molly, you have to write better than me, so Todd can read yours.
Who's choosing that? Are we putting that back on the commissioners or are we putting that on the APC?
Well, that's because
Or
It'd be on the zone, wouldn't it?
or zoning board?
yeah, along with the improvement location permit, that would go to APC.
Connected by an engineering firm of choice by Grant County APC.
Yeah, get a certified engineering firm.
I'll make that note, a certified engineering firm.
Okay, we good with 14?
Yeah.
Number 15, the amount of the performance guarantee shall be established to account for anticipated future increases in the cost of decommissioning, recycling, and site restoration. The estimated cost shall not take into account any salvage value and shall be determined by a licensed engineer, which, hey, there it showed up,
Ta-da.
Yeah,
or other qualified professional acceptable to the county. Okay, so we kind of got that
Yeah,
covered
yeah, I hit on.
there. All right.
yeah.
Anything else on 15?
Just Grant County APC
Okay,
at the very end there.
all right. Moving to 16, unless otherwise agreed to by the county every 5 years or upon request of the Area Plan Commission, Executive Director, or County Commissioners, a new engineer's estimate of the probable cost of decommissioning, recycling, and site restoration shall be submitted, and the bond irrevocable letter of credit we're taking out
Or other financial
or other
security.
financial security shall be adjusted upward or downward as necessary. I like that.
I think it should not be adjusted downward.
Okay,
That's just because during a decommissioning, unforeseen costs are going to arise. If they've taken money away from it, we have no way to recoup that.
Just upward.
Yes, so just
As
upward,
necessary.
upward as necessary. It cannot go down, it can only go up.
shall be adjusted upward
Good job.
as necessary.
And I also think it shouldn't be every 5 years, has been proven by other sites currently developing. They're adding more buildings and permits quicker than every 5 years.
2,
I would be comfortable with 2.
okay. Anything else on 16?
Just add Grant County in front of all of the boards listed. You could probably do it one time and it would be fine.
Moving to 17, a new estimate shall also be submitted prior to the sale or transfer of any substantial portion of the facility, and the performance guarantee shall be adjusted as necessary and incorporated into the transfer or sale documentation where applicable.
So what that is saying is if they decide they want to sell it, they have to provide a new estimate of cost, regardless if it's that 2 years or not. And that has to be included, that new company has to take over that,
Yes.
correct?
And that's a shall,
Yes.
not a may.
And the decommissioning bond and other such things should be transferred prior to
Sale.
the siege. Yeah.
Want to add that?
So all those bonds should be qualified prior to sale.
Bonds shall be qualified prior to sale.
Okay. Anything else on 17?
Did you put shall in there?
Yes, I put shall, bonds shall be qualified prior to sale.
I was waiting on you.
Okay.
Poor Kale.
All right, number 18, all expenses involved in decommissioning, recycling, and site restoration shall be paid by the owner and operator
Or developer.
or developer. or the work may be completed by the county at the owner's and operator's expense as provided in the decommissioning, recycling, and site restoration plan and agreement after any required court order.
I think developer needs to be added again to that second portion on the third line there.
Grant County.
In Grant County, but are we attaching that to a specific or leaving that general? Because I think it should be left general, right? Because that's not,
Either left journal or the APC.
Thoughts?
Yeah, should we leave it open-ended like that?
I guess, who is going to be in charge of making sure that if they don't do these things, then the county is going to take it out of that bond? Who's in charge? Who, we've already said the APC's in charge of that. So this then refers back to that as well and should be directly to the APC.
I agree. I think that makes sense.
Does everyone agree?
Yes.
Now, do we need to put in here, since we have the line after any required court order? I'm assuming, I shouldn't, but that they would have to pay our legal and court fees as well to recoup that?
I think that's what it's saying, isn't it? Is that what it's saying?
Well, it just says court order.
Yeah.
All expenses.
Yeah, I think all
I think
expenses would
maybe
come
it's
to-
worded, maybe it needs worded differently, but
Maybe, all expenses may be all expenses including legal fees.
yeah. I agree. Any legal fees acquired during a court order.
Yes.
Okay. All right, anything else on 18?
Good.
Number 19, any costs not paid by the owner or operator may be assessed as a lien upon the real estate where the facility is located to the extent permitted by law.
Developer.
And, yep, developer. So here's my question with this. And this is going to come back around to a comment made earlier. If they've up and gone and they're just letting us take care of all of it, correct? A lien on the real estate is not going to do us a darn bit of good. How do I am not legalese educated, so does that need to be a lien placed upon the actual business? Their assets? Is that legal to do?
I don't know that you could do that. It could be that the facility does have some value, possibly.
Yeah, but if they're gone and they don't care about selling it, I mean, I'm thinking of example is like the Dana building, right? Dana's gone out of the picture, $3 million in back taxes. They don't care.
And no decommissioning bond.
And no decommissioning bond, right?
The lien will protect us kind of from the difference in the bond and what we could get out of the value of the place if it was sold.
So I'm not saying the lien is bad. I'm saying, do we need to add an additional aspect? I mean, because let's face it, right? If I don't pay my taxes, my wages get garnished. That's my assets, right?
Maybe
So
make a note to seek counsel
that'd be, yeah, let's do that, Owen.
Seek counsel?
on number 19.
Yeah, on additional appropriations.
I think that'd be a good question for an attorney. Do you agree, Ed?
Yeah, I think we can ask him that. He's gonna say, well, you may not have a problem if your decommissioning bond pays for everything. But if for some reason that doesn't, then you've got that cost
Right.
incurred.
Well, this gives you some sort of control also to who they sell it to, depending on how much money you put
Yeah.
towards that. They could deter them from just giving it to somebody or their friend or whoever.
Giving it away.
It would help.
Okay, we're going to open it up to the public on number 4, performance guarantee. Anybody has any comments? All right, hearing none. Any other comments, commission members? Before we go on to number 5, written notice and opportunity to cure. Okay. Good. Number 20, under written notice and opportunity to cure. Prior to implementation of any county remedy for failure to decommission or restore the site pursuant in this section, the county commissioner shall provide written notice to the owner and operator, setting forth the alleged default or failure. Any thoughts on that?
Grant County?
Just grant in front of both counties. We are not saying when we will provide that written notice.
Well, prior to the implementation.
Okay, prior to the implementation. Okay, I'm good with that then.
Any other comments on 20? Okay, we'll go to 21. Such written notice shall provide the owner and operator a reasonable time period not to exceed 60 days unless otherwise agreed by the parties for good faith efforts to resolve the default, including possible negotiation of a rehabilitation plan, corrective action schedule, or decommissioning timetable.
Add developer. A reasonable time period not to exceed 60 days.
Are we good with that?
Unless otherwise agreed by the parties.
From what? 60 days from what?
So receiving the written notice?
That's what I'm going to say, yeah.
Or knowledge, or public knowledge, or, written notice maybe.
Because the written notice that it refers back to 20, where we're saying prior to implementation, we're going to give them the written notice. So once they receive it, they then have a reasonable time not to exceed 60 days.
Do we know who the parties are?
Okay.
That was my next question. Unless otherwise agreed by the parties, I think we could just take that out. They have 60 days flat out for a good faith effort to resolve the default.
Yeah, I like that.
So I'm going to make a note, why parties?
Well, just take out unless otherwise agreed by the parties.
Take that out.
Yep.
Okay. Gone. Anything else on 21?
Good.
22, if the default is not resolved within the applicable time, the county may pursue any and all remedies available under this chapter, the decommissioning, recycling, and site restoration plan and agreement, and other applicable law. That kind of gives us some flexibility there.
Within applicable time, are we saying? I don't like vagueness. I understand that sometimes vagueness is appropriate. However, their idea of applicable time when fixing an issue could be very different than what the citizens of this county consider an applicable time.
Have we defined the applicable time? In
60
this?
days, 120 days, 180 days.
Yeah, I think we defined that.
Yep. The default is not resolved within X amount of days.
Yes.
Grant County.
Grant County APC.
So you're going to use 60 days again?
I think that's generous. Some issues could probably be resolved within a day. Other issues may actually take longer than 60 days. But
And 21 talks about to resolve the default.
right.
This is if the default is not resolved. Is that an additional time after 60 days? Is that what it's saying?
That's what I'm assuming it is.
That's what I read it too, Ed.
Right. So it's referring to if it's not resolved within the 60 days, the county may pursue any and all remedies available under this chapter.
So why don't we just put within the 60 days allotted?
That's kind of what I was wondering.
So it's specific so take out applicable time and put within the 60 days
Yeah.
allotted, or, yeah. I think allotted is the correct legal term. We'll go with that.
Okay, we good? We'll move on to number 6, costs incurred by the county. Number 23, in the event the owner and/or operator fails to enter into a rehabilitation plan or fails to decommission, recycle, and restore the site to accordance with this section, the owner and operator shall pay all costs incurred by the county in enforcing this section, including reasonable attorney fees, engineering fees, inspection costs, removal costs, recycling costs, restoration costs, and administrative expenses. So they picked up the attorney fee in that.
Okay,
To the developers.
Okay.
yes, and grant in front of county. Take out the,
I think that was pretty good, that one right there. Okay, we good with 23?
Good.
Okay, 24, any such costs not paid may be assessed as a lien upon the real estate where the facility is located to the extent permitted by law.
I think that's another note made to seek counsel on additional appropriations.
As far as the lien,
Yes, just like in number 19 under 4.
Okay, with that being said, before we go on to why, we're going to open this up for public comment. Told you guys we're going to get this done tonight. Now, Michael, you got to make this short.
No pressure. I'm going to offer a thought now. I don't have a suggestion of words that may fall in that category that Molly just referred to about seeking an attorney's way to structure it.
Okay.
We're talking about a development that they'll bring in a lot of material, assets, devices, and components and so forth, all that has value. You're talking about requiring bonds for a value of an amount that will cover our costs if this place has to be decommissioned and reverted back to. But if I'm sitting on their side and thinking about how I structure the organization that comes in to do the development, I'm going to want to limit my exposure as much as possible. And using a device like a limited liability corporation in the organizational structure, and trying to set up my balance sheet and asset sheet in such a way that I have minimal assets, touchable assets in that organization. But I have a lot of debt. I have a lot of leveraged devices in place so that I minimize what my valuation is. I guess I'm trying to say how it's structured in the wording of the organization that we're dealing with, that we require them to be a corporation, or if we can require them to be a corporation, an S corp or something, which they have to show and retain and demonstrate value of all of the material that they bring into the construction of it. Don't allow us to be put in a position where there's a shell company sitting out there that has no assets and everything is leveraged to the hilt on mortgages, so that if they did decide to pull a Baltimore Colts event and leave in the middle of the night and leave nothing, that there's an entity there that doesn't have any value to it. So I see your head shaking,
Got that
so
noted.
I think you get the idea.
So
Like I
any and
said,
all property
Yep.
that's on site would be
Seized.
their responsibility.
Did I say that out loud?
some things in a way, mechanism that in a way allows us to attach further to it if the performance bonds are not adequate or not enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, hearing none, we will move to the middle of page 33, Y, which is conflict with other regulations. Number 1, nothing in this section is intended to preempt other applicable county, state, or federal laws or regulations, including but not limited to building, fire, floodplain, environmental, utility, and aviation requirements. Any thoughts on that?
I'm good.
No, I'm good.
Good. Number 2, all data center accessory uses and associated infrastructure shall comply with all other applicable ordinances, rules, regulations, statutes, permit requirements, and provision of law. Good.
Have we defined accessory uses?
Maybe we need to define it.
Because it's battery, standby system,
It could be a generator, it
generator.
could be a natural gas plant. So I think if I remember correctly, we asked about that at the last meeting with Todd, defining specifically what we mean by accessory uses.
We got to be careful by narrowing it down, because then we held it exclusive to just what's on paper.
Correct. No, I think maybe not on paper define it, but at least
Okay.
know what we mean by that.
Okay. Are we good there, number 2?
Yes.
Number 3, in the event that the provisions of this section impose restrictions different from any other ordinance, rule, regulation, statute, or provision of law, the provisions that are more restrictive or that impose the higher standard shall govern. I really like that one.
I agree.
Okay, we good with that?
Yep.
Number 4, nothing in this section shall be interpreted to interfere with, abrogate, or annul any other applicable ordinance, rule, regulation, statute, or provision of law. Like that too?
Yes.
All right. Any comments on number Y before we move to Z?
Hi, Bill Creech in Marion. I just had one quick question on number 2. What about, because you're dealing with a with data centers and advanced technology. What about if there's something that comes about in the future that you didn't even know about, that you didn't have an ordinance or anything? Is there anything in there that keeps them from grandfathering in under the old one, that they have to be compliant to all future? If you find something else out in the future that this technology or something that they're doing there wasn't even covered by the ordinances because you didn't know about it, is there any way to protect yourself with that? That's a question that I would have.
It's a good question.
We will make a note to make sure that we ensure that we're protected by any additional.
So they'd be compliant with any additional regulation or ordinance.
Thank you, Bill.
So we might want to have some kind of review process in mind for, future developments in this ordinance if new technology or something come along. That's what he's saying. So 3-year, 5-year review. Things change fairly quickly in this industry.
I hope your handwriting's good, Randy.
I'll be able to read it.
Or you can watch a video and get the flavor.
There you go.
That's right. That's what Todd can do. Okay. Thank you, Bill. All right. Anything else before we move on to Z, enforcement? Okay, hearing none. Number 1, under Z, the county may designate such staff, officials, employees, agents, attorneys, engineers, consultants, inspectors, or other qualified persons as it deems appropriate to administer, implement, inspect, monitor, and enforce this section.
APC?
Should that be actual commissioners? Sorry.
Code enforcement falls under APC, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're giving them a lot to do with this.
Yeah.
For the volunteers. Just mentioning that.
Can we defer cost?
What's your suggestion, Ed?
Well, and it may be that the APC hires some people to do these things too.
Yes.
Because they're just not going to be able to
Enforce everything.
enforce all this and do all this. Just a group of volunteers, that'd be a lot.
That's why I was wondering if it should go back to the commissioners
Yeah.
instead of the APC, since they are the actual elected officials.
Yeah. And maybe we've kind of got that covered in here. They may designate such staff, officials, employees, agents, attorneys, engineers, and all that. We're going to have to hire them, obviously.
Right. Does this give us that power, doesn't it?
Yeah, that gives us that power to cover that.
Okay.
So leave it as APC and not take it up a step higher?
Gary, because it's code enforcement, you say we need to stick with APC?
Seems like it to me.
That's where code enforcement is.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay.
Bud, comments? We good?
Yeah, I wondered if we could divert the cost to them for the implementation of regulation or enforcement.
Sure.
And in regards to hiring somebody to enforce that,
Right.
the cost will go to them. Is that what you're,
Yeah, exactly.
so we need some verbiage for that then?
Yep.
Todd can figure out the verbiage.
Yep. Okay, we are going to go to number 2 on page 34, at the top of page 34. I see us coming to a close here, folks.
Just keep reading.
Okay, all right. Number 2, any person owning, controlling, operating, managing, or otherwise responsible for any building, structure, equipment, improvement, or land related to a data center shall be legally and financially responsible for compliance with this section. The terms and conditions of any approval granted under this section and any lawful order issued in connection with enforcement of this section.
Developing, add that in there, owning, controlling, operating, managing, developing,
Okay?
or then
Developer or
developing, I would say, because everything else is an ing word. So,
Okay, I gotcha. I understand.
Good with that?
Yep.
There's a lot there, but, okay. Number 3, violations of this section, including violations of any condition, approval condition, agreement, financial assurance requirement, reporting requirement, or enforcement order shall be subject to the penalties and remedies provided by this chapter, including 153.999 of any other applicable local, state, and federal law.
I am just looking up that code real quick.
Is that our area-wide zoning ordinance code, or is that Indiana code?
I'm assuming
I
that,
think it's ours.
yeah, because it doesn't say IC.
Okay,
So,
Yeah, that's ours, 153 series
Okay.
is us.
okay.
so I think that something that was mentioned last time was making sure that that code and its enforcements and applicable fines was reviewed as well. Do I remember that correctly?
You're younger than me, Molly, so I'm sure your memory's better.
It's at the very bottom of our area-wide zoning ordinance. I think 153.999.
Yeah.
It's like,
Because I remember Todd saying something about, a fine of $2,500, which a day,
per day.
right? Which with some of these things that we've discussed throughout this entire ordinance, I mean, that's a drop of sweat.
Yeah. And the maximum, according to state law, at this time is 7,500 per day.
So,
That we could find.
so can we make note to check that and make sure it is updated according to state code?
153.999, first line says, any person violating any provision of this chapter for which no specific penalty is prescribed shall be subject to 10.99. So, there's a couple pages there of verbiage
Okay.
in the zoning ordinance.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just review that code, see if it's appropriate. That would be a commission-required change if we're going to do the area-wide zoning ordinance change.
Right,
Okay.
but if we're only charging $2,500 and state law allows us to do higher than that now,
Right,
we should probably consider
Right.
doing that.
well, I think there's some consideration of reviewing the area-wide zoning ordinance here in the near future. All right, we'll move to number 4. Each week that a violation continues after notice and opportunity to cure, where applicable, shall constitute a separate violation unless otherwise provided by law.
We change week to day because
Yes,
that fits with our fines.
Okay? Anything else on 4?
are we defining those separate shall constitute a separate violation? Is that then also covered in the area zoning code? What that fine violation would be?
We could reference 153.999 again.
Yeah, I think we should, because otherwise it leaves it open.
What do you think, Ed?
I was thinking maybe just refer to it as the maximum state fine for a violation.
Instead of a separate violation shall constitute the maximum fine provided by state law.
The separate needs to stay because that's for each day. But
You could have violations for all kinds of different things, meaning toxic chemicals or lead.
Master ready.
Yeah.
So leave separate violation, otherwise provided by law, and then word it to add in the
Maximum fine.
under,
state law.
yes, per violation. Yes, I like that.
Okay, anything else on 4? Number 5, in addition to all other remedies, the county may institute any appropriate legal action or proceedings to prevent, restrain, correct, abate, enjoin, compel compliance with or recover damages or costs arising from any actual or threatened violation of this section, including unlawful construction, alteration, reconstruction, operation, movement, use, abandonment, or failure to decommission or restore the site. Pretty much covered what we've talked about.
What about environmental?
That first line, are we gonna tack that to an agency, APC, or just leave it broad?
I think it should be broad in this case because some of these could be a health board violation or an environmental violation or whatever. That's why I was wondering.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
So just put Grant County,
Yeah,
because, yeah, it's a vast array of things
Yeah.
in there, packed in there.
yeah. The only thing I don't see in that list would be anything environmental.
Okay, we'll make note of environmental. Okay, anything else on 5?
We have a road use agreement in here. And is that just for the construction? Or should we have a road use agreement
For decommissioning?
for decommission?
Yes.
I agree. So. It should technically be one and the same, wouldn't it? Because it'd be, I mean.
Well, they might be going someplace different when they're hauling it away. As opposed to new materials coming in to build it.
Okay. All right. We're going to do number 6. The rights and remedies provided in this section are cumulative and are in addition to any other rights and remedies available to the county at law or in equity.
Add that to grant.
Any comments about that?
I'm good with it.
All right. We'll open to public comment. Where did we?
First number written
33. Enforcement.
enforcement,
Yeah.
letter Z.
Open this up to enforcement, letter Z.
Mary Creech, Marianne. I just want to clarify something. Could you clarify something for me? When you're talking about the potential fining, are you talking that it'll start out at 25 per day, depending on the violation, and up to the 7, or are you going to start right at the 75 that the state allows? Or is it going to be a tiered thing by what the violation is and how long it's feasible for them to correct it? And if they haven't corrected it in a feasible amount, then it creeps up? Or are you just going to start all the violations out at the highest amount? I wasn't quite clear. Just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
That's all.
Yeah.
Where are we going to reference that statute?
Those,
That was number 4, wasn't it?
3 and 4.
Yeah, I think we were going to.
3 was the county ordinance, right? That 153
Right, and 4 is the state.
state, right?
Right,
So we were going to review the code.
correct.
Yes.
And
So
We're going to look at that and see how that lays, since it is in the area-wide zoning ordinance in regard to those fees.
I'm fine with fees and stuff. I just didn't know if it's going to be tiered based on the violation or it's just going to be flat.
And I'll be honest with you, I've not reviewed that to know where that is, or, how that's structured. Okay.
We're going to make sure that it's structured, or we're going to request, I shouldn't say not make sure, because we don't have that ability, but we will request
Right.
the zoning board relook at that and make sure it is updated to current state statutes and fines are appropriate to cost of living today. Does that make sense?
Any other public comment? Okay, Todd and I talked about the possibility of needing a separate ordinance for battery energy storage systems, so we are going to skip that section 153-7, which is A, B, C, D, E,
And F, it goes all the way to the applicability at page 37 in the middle.
So we are going to jump to only having 2 left to discuss. I knew we were going to get this done tonight. So that's going to be 153.7XZ on page 37.
And Randy, you did make a note that we need to look at a wetlands protection section, correct?
I do have a note to look at a wetland. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Got it right there, number 2. Okay. And why is this numbered separately? Do we have any reason for that? I mean, why did he throw a 153? I don't think he's done that throughout the thing here.
That actually looks like our zoning numbers, the 153 series there. So I'm not sure why they picked up. I mean, when you put this into our zoning ordinance, you may be starting at 153.7 something. And I can't remember where we were with the solar ordinance. Maybe I can take a minute here. Yeah, we were in the 153.700 series, I think, with the zoning ordinance.
So you think this was pulled from the area-wide zoning ordinance then?
Yeah, that number is.
Okay.
It's not a complete number. The XX would be where you add to it, I expect.
And it would be appropriate for this to be added to an ordinance, even though it's in our area-wide zoning ordinance?
Yeah, it would be added to our area-wide zoning ordinance. We left up here in this one is in 153.745, I think. So we would actually begin this ordinance at some point after that.
Okay.
So it might be 750, or we might jump clear to 800.
Okay. Well, let's take a peek at this and see if we feel like there's any changes that we need to recommend. So, applicability. The requirements of this ordinance and the sections added hereby shall apply to all data centers, and we're going to take out battery energy storage systems since we're removing that. Proposed, constructed, installed, operated, expanded, modified, transferred, or decommissioned after the effective date of this ordinance, except where a different applicability standard is specifically stated. Anything to add?
I think I'm all right with it.
What if our ordinance for a data center, something in here, is higher than an ordinance for something else? We would want, I don't want them to be able to argue, well, in this ordinance it's X, but the exact same thing in this ordinance is Y, except we're a different applicability standard. So, except where a different higher applicability standard?
Yeah, like a more stringent.
Right.
I agree.
So where are you, Molly?
On the very last line, between different and applicability, add higher. A different higher applicability.
Instead of different, or a higher.
Yes,
Okay.
Higher.
Take out different.
yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Anything else?
No.
Any public input on this? Before we move to severability? Okay, hearing none. Severability, bottom of page 37. In any provision of this ordinance or the application thereof to any person, entity, property, or circumstance is held invalid by a court or administrative agency of competent jurisdiction, such invalidity shall not affect the remaining provisions or applications of this ordinance, which are declared to be severable.
So if a court says Part E isn't lawful, it doesn't negate the rest of it.
That's the way Mr. Hartman explained it to me a couple years ago.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Okay. Any comments?
Good.
Public input? All right. With that being said, we will open this up, public comment for anything associated with data centers.
That's it.
Committee members, kudos to you all for the exercise of your time and involvement in working to structure and further structure and review the draft on the journey to achieving a data center ordinance for our county. Thank you very much for your
Appreciate that, Michael.
Thank you,
It's been a
Michael.
journey. And public input's been very helpful, so we admire and appreciate all that. Hi, Laura.
Just for the record, my name is Laura Mack. I'm with the Chronicle Tribune. Our address is 401 South Miller Avenue. Last week, Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith was here in Marion and held a town hall to address public concerns and questions. And one of the topics that came up was data centers. And so his opinion on that was twofold: that the United States needs them to advance in the digital war and, quote, beat China, and also that they should not be on public land or taking spaces from local farmers. Some of his other comments, he advocated for local control over where, when, and how data centers come to specific counties. He said, you guys decide where you want it, how you want it, when you want it, and then your local officials can dictate that. He also said that Governor Mike Braun, quote, is exactly on that same page. And so I'm just asking you guys for your thoughts on Lieutenant Governor's comments and about conversations about data centers at the state level. Thank you.
All right, go for it, you guys.
My comment would be, they should repeal the sales tax exemption on computer equipment that they've given the data center, because I think they are fairly wealthy anyway. Should pay taxes like we do.
Any other comments anyone would like to share?
informing my words appropriately because I have a lot of comments, but I'm also on the record. So, I think that the makeup of our current state legislature is not advocating for local rule. So I'm happy to hear that Lieutenant Governor Beckwith is advocating for local rule. Not just over data centers, but in general, overall, because there's lots more that is affecting our state than just data centers. In addition to that, however, I also feel like he might be speaking out of both sides of his mouth a little bit. And that's a direct quote from me. I think that they like the idea of it, but they don't like the pushback they're getting from the citizens on it. So they're trying to play the political game of the speech that is best right now, coming into November. So, but I think, as we all know, lots of shakeups yesterday in the IURC. So that's going to play out a lot in how this is going to work out, and how the energy to power these ginormous machines are going to come into play. I'll leave it at that. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you. Just a quick follow-up to that, if anybody wants to chime in. The Lieutenant Governor also mentioned that he supported data centers being developed on military grounds. What are your thoughts on that?
Coming from a military family, I don't think that's smart either. Military installations are already a target for many different reasons, and I think this would just add an additional layer to that. Completely. Now, if it's a data center to power specific military operations, that is understandable. But I don't think that layer of complexity needs to be added anymore into the military makeup currently. I do think there's a lot of propaganda about the Red Scare coming around and the war against China. And if you read things like the Financial Times, if you look at all the different pieces of the puzzle, the United States has more data centers currently in operation than the next, I think it's 4 or 5 countries combined. So do we need to make sure we are strong in our military endeavors and on military land? Absolutely. However, I also think we need to make sure that we're not fueling a propaganda machine that doesn't need to exist.
I have something to say. We have a great resource in this region, which is our underground water. It's very clean, good for manufacturing, good for cooling or whatever we need to have it for. It's easy for someone from a different region to pursue monetary benefit from somewhere else for 3 jobs, 4 jobs that it requires to run. And so if it were something that were worth more jobs, which this particular part of the state needs, it would be more considerable and more favorable of a venture. So.
Thank you, Bud.
All right, thanks for your comments, guys.
Thank you, Laura, for coming. Any other public comment in general?
There's one thing I don't think we really touched on, and this is really, doesn't have to be in the ordinance, but our fees. I don't think we really touched on that. Non-refundable application fee might start around $100,000. Change of ownership fee might be like $50,000, half of that. And then improvement location permit fee might have like a base of $10,000, and 2,000 per megawatt rated capacity, something like that. Those are, I'm not committed to those numbers, just kind of a suggestion. We were somewhat similar in the solar ordinance arrangement there, so.
Okay.
Is it possible to restrict any tax exemptions or property?
No, but our county council does the property tax abatements, and they kind of have a history of not jumping into that if they're not providing plenty of jobs,
Right.
you know, and so they would look at that. It's their area, yeah,
Right.
so to speak.
Any other comments from anyone? I want to thank you guys for sharing this journey with me. I think that we've, opened the opportunity for other county agencies to take consideration as to what we've done here. I believe that we have received some very valuable input from the community, and I hope the community appreciates the fact that we honor their input and care about how things go. So with that being said, no other comments, we will adjourn this meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to
I
adjourn.
have a motion.
Ann Hartman?
I want to mention that I appreciate Randy Atkins guiding us through this entire project.
Yeah.
It's a lot of reading that he did and a lot of preparation. And I just wanted to express our thanks. I think we all share that.
Yeah.
And good job.
Thank you.
Yes.
Here, here. My time's short, but yes.
And Todd too, even though he's not here.
Yeah,
Yes.
Todd's been great.
Is this the first subcommittee that has actually invited community members on?
Yes, this is the first subcommittee structure that we've taken in Grant County, and I hope that it's something that we can continue to do on critical issues of this nature. And I hope it's it's a pattern for others to consider in other county agencies, so county governments. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Get Marcus can, yeah. He probably wasn't going to check it until the
First name where you spelled W.
With an IR, yes, yeah, this is.
Okay.
Days.
It wouldn't be related. It's a small word, I can ask that question.
Yeah.
They're really looking anywhere then.
We got done before 8 o'clock, Randy.
We did.
Well,
What do you call that? A limited
When's the
equity?
next meeting? You guys haven't decided?
No, Todd's gonna have to get these revisions
Okay.
into the draft, and then we'll make that known. Unsure when that will happen, but hopefully, in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, I'll follow up with Todd then.
Thank you.
Thanks, Laura, for coming.
I guess. my
Thank you, Cynthia.
question is, do you guys have the meeting minutes? Just say,
I'll put it out in the lobby for a second.
because they have 6 months, right, to act on it.
All right.
yeah,
Trusted me with the key. I get to lock the door.
Is that why the door is
Okay.
actually propped up?
I didn't know how to